What's up, guys? This is Matt Ramsey with the Octave Higher East Voice Studio here in Austin, Texas. And this week we are talking to another one of the master teachers from the Institute for Vocal Advancement. And I am just so honored to present this week's episode to you. Number 23. Let's get it started. Guys, this is Octave Higher TV, episode 23, part 3 of our series in Ask the MT Your Questions, in which we're talking today with...
Well, I'm Stephanie Borm from Munich, Germany.
Fantastic. And how long have you been teaching with IVA?
Well, I'm actually one of the founding members of IVA, so I've been teaching with IVA from the very beginning, and overall I've been teaching for 16 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. And you've also taught in the U.S. in San Francisco, correct?
I've taught in San Francisco for 8 years, so basically like half of my teaching life. I've been teaching in San Francisco at the Voice Studio, and the other half of my teaching life I've been teaching in Munich, Germany. But also like doing teacher trainings, workshops, basically like all of the world, especially in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Fantastic. Well, let's just jump right into it. We've got so much experience, but I'm kind of hoping that, maybe some of the things that you talk about will shed maybe a different perspective from some of the things that I've been talking to my students about. So let's get into a first question. This is from Craig Nye. He asks, how do I know if I'm stressing or injuring my voice?
Well, that's a great question. However, he should really, our voice is part of our body, right? So whenever you're stressing a certain part of your body, a certain muscular system in your body, if you pay attention to your body, you feel it, right? If you work out too hard, if you play sports too hard, usually you feel it that you're just straining your parts of your body, and that's kind of the same how it is with your voice. So usually it's just like a physical sensation that you get if you overdo it, which might be just strain, pain, or just discomfort while you're doing it. Or even afterwards, after you've been singing, that you experience some hoarseness, some phlegm, some pain, some discomfort while you're speaking. That's usually the sensations that people get when they're not using their voice correctly.
Yeah.
So again, just pay attention to your body. Be very sensitive, and just overall, certain things that are not good for your voice are definitely like screaming, yelling, extreme shouting, which make the voice very tired or can be just potentially be harming to the voice.
Of course. Sure. And I love that that you're kind of indicating a hinted balance. It's like you want to work hard enough that you're getting the benefit from the lesson, but not so hard that you're, can't sing the next day because I, worked so hard.
Oh, absolutely. And I always tell my students also during the lesson, especially if they have a day where they don't feel too well vocally, just because they're under the weather or they're tired or whatever reason, that I tell them I'm definitely going to listen very, very carefully to the balance in their voice, to what's happening on a vocal technique level with their voice while I'm vocalizing them. But I always tell them, if you feel any discomfort, then just let me know, because I'm not in your body. I'm just listening. And even though I hear many things, I still need you to pay attention to your instrument, to your body.
I love it. And I'm sure Craig is getting to be very in tune with that. We've been working together for a few months now, so he's kind of getting into the feeling of it, kind of working off of that. And maybe this is a little bit of a specific question, but what 5 things do you do every day to practice, preserve, or expand your vocal range or voice? Now, this is, in my opinion, maybe a little bit unfair to ask for 5 things, but I think where he's coming from is he does the exercises. He works with the CD, a couple times a day, maybe once in the morning, maybe once in the evening. Is there anything outside of the exercises that he can be doing to help preserve and expand his range, or would you stick with the exercises?
Well, definitely. If he does the exercises, that's perfect. Especially if he does them with the CD that you record in the lesson.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things about practice that I always tell my students. Definitely try to practice as frequently as possible, if possible every day, but at least maybe like 2 or 3 times a week, in order just to get the vocal technique just a lot more stable and to have it become second nature. And I definitely recommend practice along with the lesson recording. Don't just do exercises that you remember from a voice lesson that you've done at a certain point, because with that recording, you will repeat exactly what the teacher has done with you in the lesson. You will hear the feedback from the teacher. You will have the reminders of certain things that you definitely want to keep in mind while you're practicing. So you actually establish the same balance, or hopefully the same balance that you achieved when you were in the lesson.
Right.
So that's definitely something that's very important. And what I also recommend is, just in terms of developing as a singer, developing as a musician, don't only work on exercises. Definitely get your repertoire going.
Yeah.
Depending on what style of music you prefer singing, or what songs or style of music your teacher is recommending to you, definitely spend just a certain time of the week also practicing on songs, making sure that you apply the same technique that you practice in the exercises.
Yeah.
That you learn to apply that onto songs, because we all know applying technique onto songs is a little bit more difficult than just doing the exercises.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely want to make sure to spend a certain time, if possible, every day on that. And besides that, what I think is extremely important to preserve your voice is stay hydrated. That's crucial. Just make sure that you're drinking lots of water every day, like 3 liters. Here in Europe, we have liters. That's definitely recommended, especially if you suffer of allergies, or just if the air is really dry. You definitely want to make sure that you stay hydrated. Another very important part is sleep.
Of course.
I know that we all don't need as much sleep as everybody else, but know how much sleep you need, and then try to make sure to get enough sleep so you feel rested.
Yeah.
Keep physically active, just to make sure that your blood flow is still going on. Just physical fitness is always great for singing in general. It helps you to breathe deeper. It helps you with the oxygen flow throughout your body. It helps you with muscle coordination. So stay physically active. And other than that, what I always recommend is just listen to music as well.
Yeah.
Train your ear, train your hearing in terms of what is good vocal technique, what is not that good vocal technique. Learn songs, train harmonies, stuff like that. We're not only, as singers, we're not only vocal technique.
Right.
So we're vocal technique geeks here.
Yeah.
Still, train yourself as a musician, as a singer overall.
Yeah.
That's what I recommend. And just spend some time, if you have some time to spend on that.
It's very holistic, I think. It's not just okay, vocal technique and you're done. Well, maybe that works if you're just doing nay-nay-nays on stage, but, you have to train a whole musician.
Yeah, exactly. And, just even going deeper with that, what you also can do is, just because you're talking about being on stage, of course we want the best vocal technique on stage that we can get, but we want to, make sure that we sing stylistically, that we really just pay honor to the style of music that we're singing, that we tell the story, that we really get into emotions. And that's something that comes naturally to some people, but usually we have to work on that. Take classes like acting for singers, or song interpretation classes, or performance classes. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's so many things that are important if you're a performing artist. So there's loads of things that you can do every day.
Of course.
Besides taking care of your voice and just preserving it and getting better as like a vocalist.
Yeah. And I mean, you can get involved in your community and do a whole lot of those things. It's not like, okay, I'm just going to Matt or I'm just going to Stephanie and I'm going to be the best. It's like you have to really round out your whole musical education, and that's not just literal.
Exactly. Make sure that you work with other musicians. Find a piano player, find a guitar player, practice with them.
Yeah.
Practice communication. Just practice playing together.
Wow.
Because if it's supposed to sound natural on stage, that doesn't come overnight.
Right.
You know that.
Of course. Well, I think many people. I'm still finding out. But
yeah, we do.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I know that you've got some more students tonight, and you never stop working. And I just wanted to thank you so much for your time and sharing your insight into some of these questions, Stephanie.
Of course, it was my pleasure, Matt. Thank you for asking me to do that.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.
You too. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.